So there's always a lot of controversy and just discussion, arguments, etc., regarding different Magic the Gathering related scanning applications. Since everything is phone based nowadays, there's very little discussion about other non phone based scanning apps. So we're going to start with the scanning apps as pictured on screen here. We have Delver Lens, ManaBox, TCGPlayer, and the MTG Dragon Shield Scanner. I'm always upset that the Dragon Shield Scanner doesn't have, more obvious labeling and trademarking. Like, it's not obviously Dragon Shield, but that's besides the point. These are the four that are most usually mentioned in more recent discussions, like within the past year, that I've found online. I use one or two of these more regularly, but I'm not really happy all the way with either one for various reasons. But for now, we're just going to go over how fast they are at scanning, how accurate they are at scanning, and how much setup would be needed in order to ensure as much speed and accuracy as possible. Additionally, other than these four actual Play Store applications, there's also the SortSwift, colloquially termed web app, which is just a dumb name incorrectly used to describe a website that will function on your phone. That's it. It's not an app. It's not its own package like one would expect from an app. Additionally, if I can figure out how to get it working, I'll be comparing the SortSwift camera scanner to another PC-based scanner called MTG Stand, which is interesting. I haven't really seen much of it, but we'll see for in a little bit. So I was gonna put this in alphabetical order, but the MTG Dragon Shield scanner decides to be funky about it. So let's just start with the Delver Lens. Let's remove this real quick. And let's begin. Alright, here we go. Seems to be set up already. We got this little acrylic stand that I use for scanning my cards. First, we're gonna go with 5 Wooberg singles, standard printings from recent sets. 4 of them being from Spider-Man, and 1 of them being from Final Fantasy. So first, this Peter Parker. Alright, that scanned rather quickly. Seems correct. Yeah, Peter Parker, legal and standard. And hide on the ceiling. That's really fast, honestly. It wasn't this fast the last time I remember using it. More loom. I like the little pop-up showing the card number. Sausage Chocobo. Alright, perfect. That was pretty good, actually. I don't remember it being that good. Now we're gonna go with some other variants of cards which have caused some problems in some of the apps I've used. So first we have the first sliver from Modern Horizons 1. Number 200, yep, all good. Vanille. Alright, a little slower this time. There we go. Stomping Ground. Godless Shrine. And it got the right set for them. That's nice. Power Depot. Very pretty card. Very weird card in regards to Scanning algorithms. Blessings of the Oracle. Alright. That was pretty good. I always forget what card this one is. Compulsive Research. Number 77. Yep, that's correct. Did it get the language right? It did. Alright. How do I leave? Okay. Moving on. An Overgrown Tomb from Infinity. 284. Nice. This next card gave many of the scanners problems when I was testing yesterday without going into more detail. One scanner in particular assured me that I must be doing something wrong if this is causing a problem, but we'll see. Carplution Yeti. 9th edition. Perfect. Alright. Moving on. Some cards can be troublesome in regards to... well, some scanners, rather, can be troublesome regarding foiling. Whether or not you have to set it up as scanning foils, or whether or not it detects the foils automatically. Not really sure about Delver Lens here. Any addition? Okay, so there's a little foil button. First we'll try. Okay. So that got the professional wrestler correctly, but did it tag it as a foil? It did not. Okay. I mean, I'm not too surprised. Most scanners don't properly identify foils as foils. Still fast, still nice and quick. And a tricky one for fun. Alright, let's try turning on the camera. Nope, not much better. Alright, we stumped it with one. Mystifying Maze. Alright, hold. We're holding. Focusing. Nope. We stumped it. Alright. Figured Mystifying Maze would be the one to stump a lot of them. Here we see that it at least does some differentiation with foils in the scan interface itself. And now we'll be starting it over with the next scanner. Alright. ManaBox. Just clear this out real quick. Alright, ManaBox, no setting, no setups, this is default. Peter Parker, out on the ceiling. Marloon, Shadow of the Goblin, Slice's Chocobo, the First Sliver, MH1, Vanille, Stomping Ground, to Edge of Eternity's Edition, Godless Shrine, Edge of Eternity's Edition, Power Depot from Edge, Blessings of the Oracle, Final Fantasy, printing, compulsive research. Did it hit the language? It didn't not hit the language, but the card itself is a language. I mean, there might be only a single printing of this card in regards to language itself, but it didn't tag it as English. I mean, as Japanese, which may cause problems if you're looking to upload these to a different website or anything like that. Overgrown Tomb, Infinity, Carplusion Yeti. Pretty fast, pretty good. Alright, the foils. It did not auto-detect the foil. We go into settings, prefer foil if possible, and move on. One thing regarding the ManaBox app that I do know, in order to minimize or nullify accidental repeat scans, it will not scan a card twice in a row. Alright, Mysterious Phantasm, Professional Wrestler. As you see there, it was having trouble until I scanned a different card first. Ski Research, Wands Crack, Scout the City, and Mystifying Maze again. This one hit it. This one identified the Mystifying Maze. Alright, let's reset and move on to the next scanner. I would say between them, ManaBox may have been slightly faster than Delver Lens. As far as I'm aware, both have similar functions in regards to being able to prefer, like, lock to a specific set, which may be better for cards that are more likely reprinted multiple times. Moving on. TCGPlayer app. Okay, I made sure all the other ones are updated before starting. Just want to make sure this one is. First, let's clear this. Magic settings, come on. Standard sensitivity, these are just the defaults. But where is updating the database? We'll go over that a little later. Okay, well, I'll assume the database is up to date. Normally, if it wouldn't be up to date, or rather, I've noticed in the past when starting the TCGPlayer Scanner, it will say restart to update, something like that, to update database. I don't think I've really noticed it in this new scanner. Like, they've updated TCGPlayer app in the past few months. Like, this rounded camera interface may look different for people who haven't tried it in a while. Anyway, let's begin. Peter Parker. This one does ask you to manually verify which edition, in case there's one that looks extremely similar, like the 2025 promos that would appear in pre-release boxes. It's not always in the same order, and you have to be extremely careful in selection, because as you've probably noticed in my past two attempts, if I don't click properly, it will not accept it. It will treat it as me sliding the interface down in order to get rid of it. and then the scan will not succeed. Alright, this one's asking whether or not it's the surge foil or the regular. We're gonna quick tap, see? Once again, oh, having trouble with this guy. Flash on. Flash isn't working right now. As I mentioned, some scanners have trouble with the dual lands. If they don't get the right set, they have trouble just with the dual land in general. Alright, I'm going to pull it out of the sleeve and see if that changes things. Nope. Alright, so it failed on Stomping Ground. It's gonna fail on Guardless Shrine. Power Depot. Nope. Blessing of the Oracle. Nope. This guy. Nope. Overgrown Tomb. Nope. Kraplusin Yeti. Huh. I was at least expecting that one. Alright. Will it hit the foil? I'm wondering if it got stuck now in some way. I'm gonna roll it back a little bit and restart the app and see if it just got stuck with something. Alright. Stomping Ground. Alright, this time it scanned it. That's the promo pack edition, this is the normal, and that's the pre-release. Godless Shrine. Promo, regular. Power Depot. Regular. Blessing of the Oracle. Showcase. Compulsive Research. It's not foil etched. This is wrong. Overgrown Tomb. Kaplusin Yeti. Okay, didn't get it as expected, because it's not the usual, is that it did not properly scan a card as foil. So we switch it over to foil like many others. And restart the app because it's frozen again. Or something. I'm not sure what happens to it. Magic near mint English foil. Alright. And now the Stumper. Nope. No luck. Alright. Let's try restarting the app one more time. This isn't exactly a process one will want to be doing on an extremely regular basis, given that I've only scanned 17 cards so far. Stumped again. Mystifying maze continues to stump. So to recap, TCGPlayer app has definitely been the slowest at scanning so far, and the only one that needed to be restarted. Though it does give a quote-unquote faster interface in regards to choosing the exact version of the printing that you're scanning, if there are multiple printings that look similar. Moving on to the Dragon Shield app. Could have sworn I did that already, but alright, scanning. Peter Parker, blah blah blah. Alright, that's the first hit against the Dragon Shield scanner. It doesn't automatically just add to Is there a setting for that? Alright. So far this appears to be the clunkiest in regards to actually adding things to an inventory. Alright, gonna cut here for a moment. Alright, so we're back to the scanner, MTG Dragon Shield scanner. We have to add it. Oh my gosh. Come on. It's... No. Oh, that was bothersome. Did it scan this as a premium export? No, I'm gonna have to cut that as well. Crazy. No, this one's just bad. I've worked with people, like, I like to, or rather I offer services building or redesigning commander decks, standard decks for people online. A few, like very, very few people have approached me with lists to their collections via the Dragon Shield app, which is why I have it installed. I didn't like it from just a sharing standpoint, and here actually trying to use it to scan and things, horrible experience. Not really sure why anyone would want that. Anyway, we're moving on to the SortSwift web app scanner. Really vague, excuse me. My biggest gripe with this one, it doesn't auto scan. My entire workflow is ruined because I gotta lift my hand up, click the button so it takes the picture, and hope it scans correctly. Alright, this is one of the few or only scanners I am aware of that has foil detection, but it takes any sort of reflection on the card itself as foil. As you just saw here, this card is in a sleeve. There's a tiny bit of light reflecting off of it, off of the sleeve, so the scanner took it to mean it was foil. We've taken it out of the sleeve now, put it back. It detected foil again. Alright, let's try a different card. And then move back to the Peter Parker. Please ensure only one card is visible. Foil detected. Oh, my bad. I had it on foil detection down here for whatever reason. Must have misclicked it. So we'll try again from the beginning. Exact same order and setup as everything else. Can't be accused of being biased. Gonna clear the list. I just noticed that that scanned incorrectly to begin with. It scanned it as instant ramen. Anyway. Alright, this is clearly an Archangel Tith's art card, gold stamped signature. Fail to recognize. Muted there for a second because I was sneezing. I seem to recall that the SortSwift scanner allows you to zoom in. It detected nothing. A foil Blackwater Elemental. I remember it. Okay. We're gonna try reloading the site. As far as I'm aware, that resets it to defaults. It apparently did not. To be honest, I haven't had as much trouble with the SortSwift scanner when using an iPhone compared to an Android. However, Delver Lens and TCGPlayer Scanner definitely have way more trouble on iPhone than they do on Android. Okay, I'm opening it up on my little old iPhone, an iPhone 12, just for testing purposes. Alright, just had to blow my nose again real quick. And we begin. We first immediately notice that the zoom actually works sort of properly on the iPhone version, because as you can see here, it's doesn't let me zoom back in. Not sure what they changed recently in the UI, but stuff is just running off the page. Anyway, Peter Perk. Alright, scanned it correctly here on the iPhone compared to the Android Samsung S21 5G phone. iPhone 12 versus that. As you're able to see already, it's taking much longer simply because my hands have to keep moving. They can't just stay down at the bottom ready to move cards out of position. I gotta interrupt the workflow by raising my hand and alright, hit the right edge of a turn to use stomping ground. By raising my hand in order to click the screen in order to take the picture, because it doesn't scan without taking a picture first. There's a lot of talk online that the SortSwift scanner is the most accurate scanner. I say that and then it detects a FOIA where there isn't one. Moving on. There's talk online that the SortSwift scanner is the most accurate scanner. Especially by the company themselves. But they don't really give any more clarifying details on that statement. It's the most accurate scanner in which use cases? Because if you do look into SortSwift, you'll see that, as far as I'm aware, they have 3 separate scanners. This web app based scanner, which we are testing out right here, which we have already found to be nearly useless, at least on my Android, and to have incorrectly identified a foil already. I know it has trouble with this one. Maybe not. Maybe it was having trouble last night. As far as I'm aware, they have employees in the back end going through cards. Not sure how they get labeled, stuff like that. That get misidentified, and those misidentified cards are then corrected in their algorithm or whatever it is that powers their scanner to keep it from happening again. Now we're going to do the foils. This one detected a foil professional wrestler. Mysterious Phantasm. Detected as foil. Risky Research. Detected as foil. Wisecrack. Was not detected as foil. Oh, it was. It just didn't say so for whatever reason. Scout the City. Detected as foil. And Mystifying Maze, the real problem card. It detected it as foil, which it is, and the right edition. So that makes both ManaBox and SortSwift the only scanners tested so far that have been able to identify Mystifying Maze. Before moving on, as I was saying before, SortSwift, if you look into it, has 3 different scanners. As far as I'm aware, they have this in-browser mobile-only scanner. Though as far as my computer expertise knows, which is limited, still more than the average person on the street, but still extremely limited. There's no reason this web browser based scanner should not also work on desktop or laptop. Either case, you would need a USB camera like this one I'm recording on in order to properly make use of it. You can't exactly fold a laptop screen forward until the built-in camera can identify the card. But I digress. It's something that's web browser based, that is meant for mobile only, has no reason it shouldn't work on desktop browser as well, as far as I'm concerned. I'll cut here a moment while I set up the other desktop based scanners that I mentioned. I keep interrupting myself, but circling back, SortSwift has 3, as far as I'm aware, scanners available. This is the first one, the web app based scanner, which, as we have seen here, works better on an iPhone 12 mini than it does on a Samsung S21 5G. The iPhone, however, has access to ManaBox, has access to TCGPlayer. It does not have access to Delver Lens. There are some other equally recommended scanners on Apple. I've tried them out. They haven't been as good or as consistent as the old TCGPlayer scanner. Honestly, the new one feels less consistent. And ManaBox, as well as SortSwift, are more accurate than that one in that regards. Though in my opinion, Dover lens is more accurate than SortSwift and nearly as accurate as ManaBox. So I will cut for a second while I set up the web-based applications on desktop, rather. Alright, we're back now with first MTG Stand. Here we have the card scanner. Alright, first problem, doesn't want to capture the webcam. Let's just disconnect it real quick and reconnect it. That usually fixes most USB issues. Oh, we have it over here. Alright, come on, guy. There's a camera connected. You can do it. Alright, give me just a second. Alright, we're back. Honestly, this was a hassle to set up, though that's less of a fault of the web app itself and more fault of just how webcams are prioritized in Windows, in my opinion. Regardless, we will continue with the test. I organize these cards. Almost ready, and alright, let's go. Theoretically, this is set up with default instant processing all sets. Here we have my camera actually being identified properly. Looks like we still have to click to identify. Well, that's unable to detect card. Alright, let's try again. With the camera closer this time. I can't really get it too much closer. Okay. Might be too close now. Alright. Let's try again. Too close or something. Not having much luck with this one. Maybe it's just too close now. I'm trying to give all of these an equal opportunity. Unable to detect card. Okay. Not much luck there. Let's try blue. Everyone likes blue. Oh, that's not going well. At all. Not much luck there. There's another website that I've known of, though I haven't had much luck with it. I'm gonna try with that. This one is called Gestic. Gestic. They didn't have AI slop in the background the last time I used it. See, I tested it out a few months back here. Let's try again. Alright, first problem. It being PC web-based, it doesn't like when I have OBS open to record, because it insists on trying to steal the camera. Just a moment. Alright, and we're back now that I've gotten the website to accept the webcam. Just honestly seems to be a problem with how I have my recording settings set up. First big thing is that it insists on turning my webcam 90 degrees. So I've got to put my cards in a separate orientation than I would have normally. I mean, that's not too big of a deal if this ends up being good, but let's see. Oh, that's not right. It's not Sonar Strike. Alright. Peter Parker was correct. Hide on the ceiling. Nope, it's not Sonar Strike. More Loon. It's not Iridescent Vine Lasher. Shadow of the Goblin is not consumed by greed. And Saz's Chocobo is not Tree Guard Duo. I just noticed that the other cards were slightly visible at the bottom of the frame. Gonna double check them. Now it's got Shadow of the Goblin. Okay, gonna make sure there's nothing visible at the bottom. Center it more. Maybe try getting the camera closer. I think it's too close now. Alright, here we go. Hide on the ceiling is not Sonar Strike. Morloon, Devourer of Spires is not Iridescent Vine Lasher. Shadow of the Goblin that's correct. And Saz's Chocobo. Alright, got it right that time. We got a multicolor now. The first sliver. Tree Guard Duo. No. Vanille. Chieful EC. That one was put up for review despite the fact that it's right. It doesn't seem to recognize number 1/6 is the default. It doesn't seem to recognize the alt art for some reason. Stomping Ground is not an island. Alright. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards scanned. 3 of them were correct the second time around, and 1 was half right. So that's a 50% failure rate on what I what are meant to be easy cards to begin with. So that's not good. I'll pause for a moment and get the next one working. Alright. I had found another PC-based scanner that seemed to have really good reviews. It's called Urza Gatherer. This one is what I would call a true web app. It's from the Microsoft store itself. 4.3 stars with 948 ratings. For the Microsoft store, that's a pretty good rating. If you look around, even like well-known, high market share applications and programs do not usually have above 3 stars on the Microsoft store. But Urza Gatherer had 4.3 with 948 ratings. Why I would call it a true web app is because, like a lot of programs / applications I've downloaded from the Microsoft Store that are more tailored towards niche groups, they seem to be just reskins of Microsoft Edge in some way, because their settings are directly tied to the settings of Microsoft Edge on your PC, on your Windows PC. And for instance, Urza Gatherer actually had, like if you go into the settings, it just opens up a Microsoft Edge window, and its settings act like any other Microsoft Edge / Chromium extension, which is why I would call it more of a true web app, because it's an app. It's a smaller, not entirely self-contained application, which is based off of a web browser, rather than the SortSwift Scanner, for instance, which they call a web app, but it's just opening a URL in the mobile web browser and having it work from there. Given that it's just a regular old web browser, I would assume that would be able to work on PC, for instance. Pausing here for a moment. Alright, moving on. As you saw previously, it was asking me to log in. It does seem to work for a moment. There's no reason it shouldn't. But it detects that I'm on a PC rather than a phone itself, and it kicks me out of the scanner to try to get me to log into their ecosystem. Which I'm logged into here, because we're going to try to use the live camera PC-based scanner that they offer. SortSwift, compared to the other scanners I've mentioned so far, they all have subscriptions in some way for premium services. ManaBox allows you to have more collections. The free account can only have up to 5 collections. Delver Lens, you can have as many collections as you want, but you can only export up to 100 cards at a time in a CSV or spreadsheet file if you're trying to import to a different website on the free account. TCGPlayer Premium, not really sure what it offers to the scanner itself in regards to paying for premium. Dragon Shield Premium scanning gives more... What does it give exactly? I know it's not stuff I exactly consider worthwhile. Just gonna open it up here. Okay, so reading through their free versus premium. Free has unlimited scans, unlimited decks, and unlimited folders. Premium has an advanced search, historical price charts, an ad-free experience, a customizable homepage, up to unlimited card price alerts. Free would only have up to 3. Not sure how often that would update otherwise. And access to movers, whatever that means. It just might be how often a card is sold. The free has access to movers on a day, on a given day, maybe just that single day, and premium had access to weekly and monthly movers, whatever that means. And then we come to SortSwift. SortSwift is, I would consider it more of a back-end, high-end store, like, inventory system for Magic the Gathering and many other card games. They advertise themselves as being the most accurate for scanning, period. They don't state for Magic the Gathering, they don't state for Pokemon. If you play around with their web app, their mobile based URL, you'll see that it's got many scanning options for different card games with a little circle next to a green bean that they believe it's the algorithm or whatever database they use for the scanner is perfect and won't make mistakes. Yellow, they have one that's functional, but they can't guarantee will be of minimal mistakes made. And red is either abandoned, in process, or hasn't been updated in a while, as far as I'm aware. In regards to non-Magic the Gathering games, I would say depends entirely on the game you're playing, whether or not you'll have better applications for scanning available, and whether you want a multi-scanner. I mean, in my experience, TCGPlayer is slow, but the ones it does scan, it scans accurately for Pokemon, Digimon, Lorcana, One Piece, White Schwartz. SortSwift, I've tried with Lorcana, Digimon, and White Schwartz. I believe it was White Schwartz. Let's just stick with Digimon and Lorcana. Not a good time. It would always state that it found the card correctly, but it would often be the wrong set, or a similar looking card but a completely wrong name, stuff like that. Either way, not accurate. And at least in the case of Digimon, because I don't recall how in depth I went with Lorcana, with Digimon, the web app doesn't allow you to choose the set you want to scan with. It just defaults to all, even when you try to choose. So it's not like you could try to minimize the false positives or false scans with the web app. So, like, SortSwift does have that scanning capability. They state that it's the best one available on the market. They state that without modifiers because, as I've mentioned previously, they have 3 separate scanners per se. They have the mobile web app scanner, which we've already seen. They have the PC live camera USB scanner, which we will be going over in a moment. And they have something that I'm pretty sure is called ScanStream, Paperstream, something like that, which uses extremely high quality document scanners like Fujimoto, Sony, stuff like that, to scan the cards you put into it. which are like, these are machines that you would normally see in like a hospital or doctor's office or insurance company to scan driver's licenses, insurance cards, stuff like that. Have them be extremely high quality scans, images to save to a patient's file or a customer's account, stuff like that. And SortSwift, as far as my understanding, uh, uses those scanners in for their, what I assume, best scanning features. I'm fairly aware that SortSwift's bulk scanner, it's not called the bulk scanner. I'm afraid I don't remember its name exactly, but it's this really nice looking, high quality 3D printed like conveyor belt system that can go through I would say tens of thousands of cards in a day, scanning them either by name, color, alphabetical, set, price points, stuff like that. I won't argue that that's probably a very good scanner for the people who can afford it, and the price would be justified given their volume of sales. For a small hobby seller, someone who's just opening cards and selling them online to fund their next pre-release or the cards they need for Commander or Standard, it's not really something that you would want to pay for, because this, we're talking about thousands of dollars and an extremely large footprint in order to get this thing running properly. Keeping that in mind, and that SortSwift, in my opinion, is a much better inventory backend than anything else. We see that SortSwift is extremely subscription based. The basic core bundle gains access to their point of sale system, their buy list, daily auto pricing for 5 games. As I mentioned, they do multiple games. Their inventory suite, their CSV slash spreadsheet suite, their Shopify sync, Manapool sync, Card Trader sync, TCGPlayer semi sync. I would imagine that's because the TCGPlayer API is fairly locked down, and it's not something that they're giving more access to for over a year now. A physical kiosk point of sales add-on, but this does not include scanning. As far as I'm aware, if you scan via the mobile web app, you get 500 free scans a month. Though the last time I checked, those 500 free scans are just added to like a floating collection. It's not considered an inventory, and therefore it can be difficult to export as a CSV. And every time you export to your collection, you can't just go back into it to edit, as far as I'm aware. Or the last time I tried playing around with it, it wasn't capable of doing so. So this core basic bundle is $200 a month. A hobby seller will not be paying that. This will not be worth it for them. This will be for like a smaller, like entry level seller, or maybe an established brick and mortar seller who wants to try to expand to online selling, which is a whole different can of worms that I'm fairly familiar with as a hobby seller, just because I like to try to optimize my own system, like personal system, in regards to how I do things. Especially because one day I would like to open a hobby store, honestly, just for fun. Just seems fun. I don't want to make money off of it. I'm a huge proponent of third spaces for socialization and a healthy community. But I digress once more. Got the Core Plus bundle, point of sales, daily auto pricing for up to 10 games. This one includes 20,000 monthly scans. And the Core Max bundle, which unlimited auto pricing for games, unlimited scanning, $400 a month for that. You got separate bundles, the starter bundle, inventory bi-weekly pricing, card trader, 500 scans a month. Which, if you're a smaller seller and you're just looking to test things out, and maybe you would want to take the starter bundle to see how it works out for a month, I wouldn't say 500 scans is enough to start things with. They do allow for importing, as far as I'm aware. Or, I believe they used to. Yeah, inventory, beta, import. I can't really click through it for you because I don't have a subscription to their inventory system. They sell different things depending on your needs. Different scanning plans, $1,000 a month for $9, $2,200 for $20, $5,000 a month, $39, etc. Their auto pricer obviously doesn't work without their inventory system, which in my opinion is extremely expensive if you're low volume, like say less than 20 sales a week. Because if you're making less than 20 sales a week, your inventory is going to be on the smaller side, less than 5k cards. And at that point, you can do it manually in 5 minutes every day instead of paying $50 a month for daily repricing for 5 games, even if you're just interested in just Magic. Plus your inventory, which would be $40 a month, period. Like for $90 a month, the daily repricing is not going to make that back for me, in my opinion. Like in my inventory case, it's not going to make me money. Especially with Magic cards dropping so quickly now that the scalpers have ceased to be, at least for a little while. Different syncs to different marketplaces, all $10 each. Stuff. Super Sorter, that's what the name of their big sorting machine is called. On top of paying for the machine itself, you pay a $200 a month subscription to have it work. So take that as you will. And here we have some rollover scans in case you need more than what you would require for a monthly subscription, or if you've got a bunch of cards that you're looking to scan to add at once. Though, as you'll notice, these rollover scans are much or higher priced than just a monthly sub, which isn't really locked in, but I'm not really sure. Like I'm just showing it to you. 1,000 scans for 20, 2,200 for 40, 5,000 for 80. These are rollover scans. I've purchased some in the past when they were cheaper. Honestly, every so often they disappear from my account and I gotta go to Discord to ask support to add them back once more. It's usually when they add changes to the scanner, to either the PC or the mobile web scanner. Regardless, we're gonna continue with the scanner itself. It's a little bit complicated. Recently I've tried to set it up again, but their documentation that shows you how to set it up is harder to access. Honestly, I haven't been able to find it recently. That's a problem. So their PC scanner used to, as far as I'm aware, like I have it downloaded. It used to have this download for this little like command exe that would allow you to switch around settings, and then that exe would stream to their SortSwift webcam, but it is not appearing here. Maybe they've changed the need for it, which is why it's no longer easily accessible. I'm gonna keep troubleshooting for a moment. Settings. Here we have my -64 scans. I don't know what's going on there. Though in the past, my mobile web scans would disappear entirely, like after a single night, despite only scanning like 20 and 30 cards. Almost all of them error cards, like inaccurately scanned. And then I would try again the next night, look into it, and see that for some reason the mobile scanner now has each one of those cards tens and hundreds of times scanned. I believe that's what goes on in their back end when an employee goes through and checks through the errors and the inaccurately scanned cards. They just keep scanning them over and over, like teaching the algorithm or whatever it is what the right card is. Unfortunately, I've noticed that tends to eat my monthly scans, as you see here at -64, whereas I'm supposed to have 500 free monthly scans, and that's not what that's showing. And I haven't used it this month until today when I was showing you those things in the video. The desktop exe doesn't seem to be working right now. I'm gonna close OBS once more and try it without the exe and see. Alright, we're back once more. I was reading through the README that I had downloaded previously. Took the steps. This time we see there's actual video sources, though it's still appearing black. It's just not capturing the input. Here we can see the different settings on the live web scanner. On the live desktop scanner. They're squares instead of circles. Here we see MTG, Pokemon, Japanese, Yu-Gi-Oh, Star Wars Unlimited, Sorcery, Flesh and Blood, One Piece, Digimon card game, Lorcana, Gundam card game, Riftbound. Oh, that's soon, isn't it? Shadowverse, Union Arena, etc. You got all of these guys available, which would be nice if we could get this working. I've got one idea that I'm gonna try again, so I'll be right back. Alright, so here we have my next attempt. I'm just gonna try to have the virtual cam directly from OBS be detected by the web scanner, which is not the case right now. Let's try to open it in a new page. No luck. Oh, wait, let's see. It's just not working. We deactivate that, reload and try again. This was working previously. I would try to use the web scanner like once a month. Well, the desktop live camera. Just a moment. And we're back. I've been unable to get this working once more. As far as I'm aware, or rather, in months past, the scanner would stop working properly for me unless I had a monthly subscription, because whatever permissions they have going on in the background would do a subscription check to see whether or not a user was allowed into the scanner itself, the live camera scanner, regardless of whether or not they had rollover scans available. I would often be in contact with support via Discord about that. They have this newer file upload scanning, which just scans from images you have. It's an interesting use case, but I'm not sure who would be taking pictures individually of every single one of their cards in order to upload it here. And it would likely take away from your scans. Yeah, otherwise why would they be showing that here? They have Paperstream, which is their fancy like Fuji scanner type system, which I've heard is very, very good, like very accurate, very fast. I personally wouldn't trust a Fuji scanner to not damage cards, but enough like high volume brick and mortar sellers that I've come in contact with seem to believe it's still worthwhile. So I would say that's probably a personal decision. SortSwift recommends the Fuji, I believe it's Fuji FI 870, 8170. Ricoh, it's actually Ricoh Documents FI 870. Looking kind of expensive. $1,000. I've seen this in doctors' offices. For reasons that don't have to be shared here, but this is an extremely high quality professional scanner. It's not something a hobby seller would really need, but it is a very high quality scanner. I won't deny that. I saw an interesting Google search result. The flipping subreddit. Here we see that it appears to be damaging cards for all those idiot Pokemon scalpers. You're feeding a 80 GSM paper only scanner with soft cardboard prints that squish easily and that are too thick for the scanner, and your complaint is that the scanner is at fault. The Fujitsu FI 8170. That's the one suggested by SortSwift. And as far as I'm aware, Pokemon cards and Magic cards are extremely similar card stock and thickness. Of course, they're standard playing card size, and therefore their dimensions are the same. What if we add Fujitsu? What's the price of an actual Fujitsu 8170 rather than a Riku? 610. Looks like the same one. But this one's 610 instead of 1,000. As I said, it's up to the individual. Do your own research. See whether or not it would be worthwhile for you. Yeah, this is the same printer. I guess Ricoh is a Fujitsu subsidiary or something like that. In my opinion, the SortSwift Paperstream scanner, which is the one that uses these high quality document scanners, are, in my opinion, what they must be advertising when it comes to high quality scanning, the best scanner on the market, whatever their current advertising claims to be. Just because, in my experience, I mean, the mobile web app scanner can be accurate, but in my use case slows down my scanning process so much to the point of it not being worthwhile. And compared to the other scanners available to me as a hobby seller just trying to fund my next standard deck, having to pay for a subscription in order to scan cards to export as a text file or CSV in order to list them quickly online is not worth it to me. I've tried the SortSwift scanner a few times over the past year, every couple of months. The web scanner is definitely in a much better place right now than the live camera scanner has ever been. But the live camera scanner, the few times it did work well for me, it didn't interrupt my workflow because I was able to use the spacebar on the PC in order to capture the image. Whereas for the mobile web app itself, either I have to lift one of my hands up to the top of the scanner in order to click the image itself, which just breaks down the scanning process for me entirely. For anyone actually interested in their extremely good looking sorter, it is really cool to look at.
So today's the day we're going to go deliver the super sorter. This is the first one we've ever done.
I believe this
we've
is
got
Michael.
about another 15 to go after this. But it's currently we're doing about 15.
Here we have, oh, it froze there, but here we see one of the Fujitsu scanners which they use at the start of the super sorter. That's the one that actually does the scanning, which further increases my belief that when SortSwift or a store that sells trading cards states that SortSwift scanning is the best around, they're basing it off of having a high quality document scanner or seeing the investment as being worthwhile. Because we see here a $600 to $1,000 scanner and a thousands of dollar, I don't remember the exact price point, it was at least $3,000 3D printed metal brushed Raspberry Pi
100 cards an hour.
Super sorter.
With software updates, we'll be able to speed it up. It should go up to about 2,500 to 3,500 an hour.
Quickly.
It's one of the first machines on the market that can go that fast with 29 bins. I'll show you a little clip of it here.
An hour.
Sorting. It's going to be a long one. So this we can get some shoot, and probably everything's good from driving it all the way over here. And running.
Like, I encourage you to look into these things. They are
bulk in here for him.
Very well
running
engineered,
it through the races to make sure everything's good from driving it all the way over here.
Require an extremely large footprint and initial
so far,
investment costs, as well as the $200 a month
sleep in a hotel
subscription operating cost. But for a brick and mortar store or an extremely high value seller of any kind, I'm sure this thing would be wonderful. But I'm just a little hobby seller, so maybe a good month is selling 50 cards online. Other people do that much in a day. So my use case, my needs are extremely different and do not require something like the super sorter. Personally, I'm looking forward to the CardMill, which I did kickstart and should be releasing soon. It's a much smaller sorting system. Either sorts by color, set, alphabetically, price points. My card type is interesting. I didn't know I did card type, or I had forgotten. It's gonna include different inventory systems, whether you want to alpha sort, set sort, chaos sort, etc. I'm really looking forward to this one. Like, as a hobby seller, this guy, the Kickstarter only cost me $400 or so for an actual physical CardMill, and both an Alphabetico and a regular sorting tray. For me, the most important things for me as a small hobby seller, the speed, accuracy, and footprint. This thing has the smallest footprint of an automatic sorter that I've seen, and additionally it has, or rather it had, no monthly subscription fee for anyone who was kickstarting it. I'm not sure about any new adopters after its release. So yeah, final thoughts. I would say for a small hobby seller just looking to offload cards you're not going to use in your decks, you don't want to sell to your local game store for only 60% credit, 50% cash, stuff like that. You probably don't need more than just the free True applications on either iPhone or Android. For me, I prefer the ManaBox app on iPhone, just because the iPhone itself isn't my primary phone, and it does seem to scan a little bit faster than the Samsung one, just because it spends less time focusing the camera. I may look into subscribing to the ManaBox one, just so I don't have to delete my collections constantly in order to scan and upload more cards. The Delver lens for Android only does look very nice. It seemed to scan just as fast, if not faster, than the ManaBox one, but it just seems a little clunkier. I want to keep playing around with it because the last time I touched it, it wasn't nearly as fast. The old TCGPlayer Scanner definitely worked better than the new one, in my opinion. I used to consider it pretty much synonymous with the ManaBox in terms of accuracy and ease of use and speed, but ManaBox has improved and the TCGPlayer Scanner has gotten much worse. Dragon Shield Scanner is the clunkiest of all, and I just don't. Try it out for yourself, but I don't like it. The SortSwift Mobile Scanner for non-Magic games, I wish it was better. Their online YouTube videos for the mobile web scanner, for the mobile web app, show much better quality, speed, and results than my experiences personally and on this video. Maybe due to differences in phones, differences in Wi-Fi builds, lighting quality, who knows. So test it out for yourselves. Maybe it will work much better for you than it has for me. I'm most excited for the CardMill. I'm counting down the days to have it arrive and hopefully be everything I need personally. Small footprint, high accuracy, automated, or as little time of me actively doing something in order to get the scan working as possible. Because, as I said, the SortSwift mobile web app scanner it doesn't scan automatically. I have to click the button to have it capture the image that it then throws back to their servers in order to try to identify it. That is not part of my workflow. I do many other things while scanning cards. My left hand is typing away, answering emails, focusing on assignments that I have to prepare for presenting to students, stuff like that. Whereas the automatic scanning from stuff like Delver Lens, ManaBox, and TCGPlayer are more part of my use case because I just have to hear it ding that it's scanned and grab another card with my right hand and put it back onto the scanner shelf that I use to hold the phone up. It becomes much more muscle memory, much more reflex. I don't have to be looking at it in order to ensure that it's scanning properly. And if I have a mixed batch of cards, I just have to go back in and make sure that everything is the right set. If everything is the same set, I just change the Delver Lens or ManaBox setting, locking it to that set to make sure it doesn't scan anything that may have been reprinted from somewhere else or incorrectly scan a card that was very similar in presentation. SortSwift also has that for Magic. It does work for Magic compared to Digimon, as I mentioned, but it's not automatic. You gotta click it to capture the image. So that's pretty much it. As far as testing it out for yourself, all of these are free to test out. The mobile web app from SortSwift is free on the phone. The live camera scanner does not work for free. It will be locked unless you previously had a monthly scanning subscription. Like, even with just my rollover scans, if I didn't have a currently active monthly subscription for scanning, it would not allow me to access it previously. For whatever reason, it's not working right now. Maybe because my monthly web scanner had lapsed, and honestly, I'm not going to pay again just to test it out. Because as far as I'm aware, they're not really supporting the live camera scanner. The web app scanner, the mobile web app scanner is enough for price checking slash getting a card list to export for non-Magic games. I don't touch them nearly as much. Lorcana I do play actively, but that one the card pool is small enough that I'm aware of all the prices, what's good, what's bad, and I just have to scan them to add them to inventory to export easily. I don't need the price points themselves. I want to keep playing around with Urza Gatherer on the Microsoft Windows Store, because it does look interesting. I'll open it up here for you guys. It does look interesting. I just couldn't get the scanner itself to work. But it does seem like a nice all-in-one solution. So, this is just my thoughts that I wanted to have online, because there's very little there are very little videos around comparing different scanning software solutions. At least maybe I'm not looking for them the right way, but for Magic there's very few of them around. More recent ones showing different apps and how they compare. So I hope this just helps people feel more at ease in regards to figuring out what works best for them. Maybe having a starting point about what apps may be worth looking into, because there are many, many options around, and it may feel daunting in order to know where to start. Personally, I'm still looking for a way to have a local inventory on my PC for my cards. Like, yeah, I can have like a little catalog or collection online, Moxfield, Goldfish, etc., of the cards I have in my collection. But I'd like to be able to have something that tells me where I have them stored. Like, say, I would really like to be able to chaos sort. It will be much faster than sorting out by color, set alphabetically, etc. Because I'll just scan, throw it into a little labeled section, put it into my cardboard drawer of Magic cards, and then if I make a sale from that, I can check my little local inventory and it will tell me where I have it saved. I of course can do that with a spreadsheet, but I would like a user interface, a nice graphic user interface that would just make it just a tiny bit faster, more efficient, less time spent, and preferably free. Which is another thing I'm looking forward to CardMill having their inventory system as part of the physical unit itself. So that's it. I hope a lot of your questions regarding these different scanners have at least been orientated, if not answered, by what I was able to do with them. Of course, I'm not support staff for any of these, nor am I a power user who will know the intricacies of every single one and will know exactly why one isn't working as well as it's advertised to be working. So I encourage you to test them out for yourself, see which one is best for you with minimal input, with minimal adjustment of settings. When you have time, play around with the settings, see if any of the others become better for you, for your use case, for your layout, desk setting, whatever it is. And have fun. The best part is of all these trading card games is to have fun, in my opinion. Many people try to make a business out of it. Everything is a business when in a capitalist society, but as long as you're having fun, it's not nearly as daunting and overwhelming as things can be. Unless you're a commander player, you're not allowed to have fun. Standard forever. But no Universe Beyond. I'm quitting Standard for the next year because of just so much going on. I missed Lorwyn. Regardless, good luck, guys. Bye-bye.